Well, I've set up my paint booth here. Actually, it's not exactly a paint booth because this is really my garage. I always do my painting out here because, well, my spray painting anyway, because the fumes, well, for obvious reasons, the fumes build up in the basement, so there's no adequate ventilation. And even in the bathroom where I do my airbrushing, it's still not quite enough power or pull through that fan to properly ventilate. So I go out here to do all my spray painting. I want to make a note that this is wintertime, and weather will play a big role in your painting, in determining how you paint. Depending on whether it's summer, winter, humid, dry. The ideal conditions for painting outdoors is dry and hot, or at least warm outside. It is the end of October as of this video, and I tell you, it is freezing out here. Even though this is Kansas, the Midwest, it's still it's close to I think 34 degrees right now. Because it's actually, as you could see a second ago, in the middle of the night. So I'm having to deal with low temperatures, but fortunately it's not that moist out here right now. So it's actually a good time for, in my opinion, for spray painting, but I still need to pull the model indoors after I finish spray painting. The reason why is that the temperature difference between the paint in the can and the paint and the ambient temperature outdoors will cause the paint to crack as it dries, which is a big problem because you'll end up having to strip it, and that's especially frustrating if you're close to finishing the paint job. I mean, even just the primer coat is bad enough, but if you have to strip this thing when you're about ready to finish it, you're gonna definitely scream a lot of curse words. Also, I store all my spray paints outside, and even if you store them inside, they're gonna be a little bit cold before you start using them. So what I like to do is take my spray paint and turn the faucet on, turn on the hot water, and run it under the faucet. Then after I hold it under there for a few seconds, shake it up real good. Then run it under a few seconds, shake it up, and do this several times until the can no longer comes back cold after I shake it, because you want to have warm spray paint, otherwise the paint is gonna clog. So anyway, let's get to painting this thing. Jeez, Krylon, Krylon really knows how to make a lid. Oh, ew, that hurt. I'm probably not doing it right. But anyway, man, I'm using Krylon gray primer. I used to use the plain old Walmart gray, but I find that this stuff gives a superior coat, and I think it lasts a lot longer. It's a lot more robust. So from now on, I'm going to be using Krylon for my spray paint, for my spray bombing. Not that I do too much of it, just usually a base coat if I can't find it in the normal testers line. But if it's just a plain old color, I'll use that. If it's something specific like Seafoam Gray or Dark Sea Gray or something like that, I will use Model Master's line of spray cans. They don't last nearly as long as this, of course, but they're more specific colors, so they don't really need to last beyond 1 or 2 projects anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and start spraying this. Now notice I'm holding it fairly close to the model. You want to hold it about sorry about that. This camera is not very secure. It's just one of these it's mounted on one of these little mini tripods, and I've been knocking it over all evening, having to retake it. I'm not going to retake another shot though, so I'm just going to leave this one running. Notice I'm doing relatively light passes also. You don't want to just hang on as you paint this. You want to let it go past the model. That ensures that the coat is even. And don't spray more than like a burst like I'm doing. Just a slight burst is really all you need to cover. And also, do not hold it too far away from the model. If you do, the paint particles will dry before they contact the model, and it will result in a pebbly texture or even a sandpaper texture. Of course, if that's the effect you're going for, then by all means go for it. But you don't really want to let spray paint the spray can get too far from the model. Also, this is a very unwieldy model, as you can tell, and it doesn't really have a good place for me to grab hold of it. Smaller models, you can actually hold onto their base while you do this, and it makes for a much easier time in spray painting. Like I said, I'm having a real hard time trying to find a place to grab it where it won't show fingerprints. You really got to be careful with fingerprints, and that's why I'm wearing gloves like this. These gloves are extremely important when you're painting because it keeps fingerprints from forming. These are not the best texture, because if I hold it like so, you can see that it's actually a textured glove. So it's not perfect, but it works for what I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up the spray painting on this, and then I will cut to the chase. Okay, got it in a nice coat of dark gray primer. One nice thing about the gray primer, this gray primer, is that it'll come in handy when I'm weathering this thing, because I can scrape through the paint on top and go all the way to the primer coat using I wouldn't necessarily use an X-Acto or anything like that. I would probably use steel wool to do the scraping. Scrape it down to the primer coat, and it looks just like a real weathered machine would. You know, the paint would be scraped off in certain areas where it's raised, like around the leading edges of the wings and the intakes here. Well, these aren't intakes, of course, but anyway, around the leading edges of all the parts, and on the nose cone, of course, and panel lines. The vertical ones especially would have some chipping going on here that would go all the way to the primer coat. And also, this really is helping me to see what needs to be done. There's a few areas. I don't want to take time to mention them right now, but there's a few areas around here that do need puttying and need fixing up. Back here, there's a couple areas, but yeah, overall, this primer coat has shown me that this is really turning out very well, I think. So I think I'm going to leave it like it is, and mainly because oh man, this has been an all-nighter for me. I tell you what, this has taken, because everything has taken so long to do, this has been a real all-nighter for me. But anything worth doing is worth doing right, so I don't regret spending all night to fix up this model. Now The only thing left to do is repair all of the parts that are, not up to snuff, basically. Then reprime it to make sure everything is hunky-dory. And then finally start in on the detail painting. And man, I can't wait. This thing has been going on since May of this year. It is October now, the end of October, and this thing has been on my bench for too long. I'd actually planned on getting this done by the 1st of September. But things didn't turn out that way, and I just never did get it finished in time. But it's almost finished now. Like I said in the first video, I'm on the home stretch with this, and it should be done by Christmas. Well, that's it for another exciting edition of my model show. Tune in tomorrow or the next day or whenever I get my next video done. And we're going back to the TIE Defender. I epoxied the wings together, so that sucker is almost completely put together. Just a few more things to do before I can finally assemble it. And I'm thinking I might use it as an example of how to properly paint a cockpit. There's not a certain way to do it, but I can show you how I prefer to paint Imperial TIE Fighter cockpits. And the tips that I use might be helpful for other cockpits, even real-world fighters and such. So, anyway, man, it's been a long night. I am ready for bed. So I'm gonna cut this well, I guess I won't cut it short, but I will cut it off right now. So peace out, and live long and prosper.